Mountain News, First at 4, continues.
Many organizations in Kentucky have been helping those in western Kentucky with cleanup and donations. Many have also been making multiple trips to help and are planning to continue their service. Allie Blake talked to someone from one agency about their experience.
As the folks out in western Kentucky continue to pick up after the devastating storms, local law enforcement agencies here in central Kentucky have continued to help out, including the Nicholasville Police Department that I spoke with earlier today as they stopped in Mayfield. Sergeant Kevin Grimes and his team made it to downtown Mayfield this morning. His team partnered with the Nicholasville Fire Department and brought a truckload of toys left over from Toys for Tots, along with other supplies for families in need, just in time for them to pick up by Christmas.
Yeah, so coming in, we saw obviously a considerable amount of damage. TV kind of doesn't do it justice because you kind of see it on TV and you can't relate to it until you see a car set next to a building or the things that are setting out and about. So it's very humbling to think that, you know, this could have been us in Nicholasville, or it could have been Lexington, or it could have been any other city around us.
Grimes hopes we will all continue to help out the people of western Kentucky as if they were our own neighbors. In Lexington, Allie Blake, WKYT.
Well, you saw it there in Allie's shot. She was bundled up this morning, and even in western Kentucky, or I should say central Kentucky, we're seeing similar conditions here in eastern Kentucky. Temperatures struggling to hit the 40s today. Buffalo Mountain camera right now sitting in the upper 30s as that sun begins to set. It's going to be a nice sunset out there. It's not necessarily an eventful sunset with all the clouds around because there's very few of those. London Corbin Airport showing you there. They've hit 40. It's a quiet scene at the airport this afternoon as well. Temperatures upper 30s to near 40. Some lower 40s as you head towards Middlesboro at 41, Jonesville and Jacksboro at 43, but it stays on the chilly side for today. Those clear skies, as those clouds pushed on out earlier today, we continue to see high pressure build in for the nighttime hours tonight, and that's going to give us a chilly low in the low to mid 20s overnight. Those sheltered valley locations could drop into those lower 20s, but I think most of us in the middle 20s overnight under mostly clear skies. We've got a big change, though, on the way as we head towards Christmas. I'll have the latest on that coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. Court officials in Colorado are under growing pressure to reduce the sentence of a truck driver who killed 4 people in a fiery crash. He was sentenced to more than 100 years in prison last week for plowing his truck into a line of vehicles last year. CBS's Mark Strassman looks at the minimum sentencing laws that have inspired a nationwide petition for leniency in this case.
I'm begging for forgiveness.
26-year-old Rohel Aguilera Medeiros sobbed in court when he was sentenced last week to 110 years in prison on 4 counts of vehicular homicide and 23 other charges.
I'm crying all the time when I'm thinking about it.
4 people were killed in this fiery wreck on Colorado's Interstate 70 in April of 2019. It's a steep road in the Rocky Mountain foothills. Aguilera Medeiros says his brakes failed, but video shows he may have missed a runaway truck ramp where prosecutors claim he could have pulled off.
He made a series of terrible decisions.
Aguilera Medeiros received all minimum sentences, but because Colorado's law requires them to be served consecutively, it added up to 110 years, something even the judge objected to.
If I had the discretion, it would not be my sentence.
As of this morning, more than 4.5 million people have signed a petition to reduce Aguilera Medeiros' sentence. Colorado Governor Jared Polis said his office has received a clemency request and he's reviewing the sentence. Gage Evans, whose husband died in the crash, says sentencing laws should be reviewed, but the sentence itself should not be commuted.
He was found guilty of reckless behavior that killed my husband. That was the most important thing to me.
Mark Strassman, CBS News.
Moscow hopes to hold bilateral talks with NATO and the United States in January over security guarantees it is seeking from both, the state media reported today, citing Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Russia has been amassing new troops near its border with Ukraine in recent weeks, despite warnings against invading the former Soviet state. In order to de-escalate, President Putin has demanded certain security guarantees, including a binding pledge that NATO won't expand further east and will not allow Ukraine to join the military alliance. The State Department's top diplomat for Russia has also confirmed January as the timeline for upcoming talks. Businesses could soon require their employees to get a booster shot to be considered fully vaccinated. This is in an effort to combat the easily transmissible Omicron coronavirus variant. Public health officials say getting a booster helps provide protection against Omicron. New Mexico already has a booster mandate requiring healthcare workers to get the jab by mid-January. Colleges and universities like Yale and Harvard are also requiring booster shots for students, faculty, and staff. A 134-year-old time capsule that was discovered under a Confederate statue in Virginia is set to be opened today. Crews were taking apart the 40-foot granite pedestal statue of General Robert E. Lee on Friday when they found the box. Historians believe it was placed there in 1887. According to the Library of Virginia, more than 30 Richmond families and groups donated Confederate memorabilia to the capsule. The National Guard unit out of Somerset is in Texas training ahead of deployment and will have a nice surprise this week. This holiday season, the military families have an opportunity to spend time with their loved ones before they ship out. But some families were not able to afford the cost of the trip, so Marcy Berry, a military spouse herself, set out to do it herself and unite those loved ones.
I just kept hearing from families that they couldn't make it, and especially those with kids, it was just awful.
Marcy found partners with public officials willing to use their personal time to collect individual donations and get those families to Texas. We'll have more on this effort coming up tonight at 6 and 11. For nearly 1 year, one Floyd County family has been waiting for a service dog to enter their lives to help with their nonverbal children's medical needs. This week, they met Tank. The new service dog is trained to sense Etta Kreider's seizures, giving the family of the nonverbal child another tool to help keep her safe. He is also trained to help with overstimulation response in Etta and her younger brother Marshall, who both have autism. His help was made possible by the community support and donations that brought him to his new family.
People have been watching Etta the whole time and her growth, and originally we thought it was just going to be for Etta, and as soon as we knew that he could track Marshall, that was a game changer as well, and people saw the need for us and they made it happen.
Tank is also trained to tether to Etta in public places and search for Marshall if he runs off and hides. We'll have more about the pup's specialties and what they mean for the family coming up tonight at 6. Well, a small animal rescue in Pike County has welcomed a new addition. 3 Mile Creek Farms in Dorton recently rescued a young calf. Snowy the Christmas Cow was named by owner Rob Elkins and his 3-year-old grandson and is less than 2 weeks old. Elkins says his grandson Zay asked Santa for a cow. Then soon after, the farm had the opportunity to rescue Snowy from animal traders in another state. Elkins says the generosity of donations and people coming out to seasonal events helps rescue animals like Snowy.
The hardest part about the farm animals is wintering them. The summer is pretty easy. They've got grass to graze on. We got to put them in the pasture. It's not that big a deal, but in the winter it makes it really hard to do because we've got to get in hay and we got to get in feed. They got to be there's nothing for them to graze, so basically they have to be taken care of.
Elkins says to check out the farm's social media pages for more information on upcoming events, or if you like to donate to the animals. We'll have more on Snowy the Christmas Cow coming up tonight at 5:30. But next here on First at 4, with just 3 days left to get those last-minute gifts, shoppers are still heading out, but they are not necessarily finding what they want this late in the game.
I would say enjoy Snowy the Christmas cow because that's about as close as we're going to get to a snowy Christmas around here, thanks to warm temperatures moving in. And I'll have all those details.